It's the year 2021. Africans in the NBA are slam dunking.
Now Joel has to catch it. And there he goes, rolling in and slamming for two.
Yes!
Shot blocking.
Whoa! Oh, big time block!
Award winning and trailblazing. But before all the success we see today,
there's a lot of talent over there.
40 NBA players who were either born in Africa or one of their parents were born in Africa, so we have tremendous talent that's coming from the continent and tremendous interest.
Downhill, slams it home!
African basketball and its plays in the NBA came from humble beginnings. This is its story. In the year 1946, there were two prominent basketball leagues in America. In 1949, both leagues merged to form what's known today as the National Basketball Association. Before the merger, both leagues consisted of white American males, until a fellow by the name of Wataru Misaka broke through in 1946 as the first non-white player and the first Asian to play in the NBA, before being followed by a guy named O. Lloyd. Drafted in 1950, after the merger, O. Lloyd became the first African American to play in the NBA. However, it wasn't until 1984, 35 years after the official merger, when the league experienced its first African player.
The Houston Rockets, who are represented here by owner Charlie Thomas and his daughter Tracy, select Hakeem Olajuwon of the University of Houston.
It is official. The well-attired Hakeem Olajuwon, who started playing basketball just 5 years ago from Nigeria, is now the #1 pick. He does not have to go too far. From the University of Houston, will now be playing incredibly alongside of Ralph Sampson for the Houston Rockets. Hakeem, whose family owns a cement business in Nigeria, and Hakeem is certainly laying the foundation here in the United States.
Born and raised in Lagos, Nigeria, Olajuwon took up the sport of basketball at the age of 15. Spotted in a local tournament, he was persuaded to leave his hometown of Lagos and travel to Texas to attend the University of Houston.
There's a gentleman, his name is Christopher Pond. He was the national coach for Central Africa. We played against them. Then after he saw me play, then he advised me not to go to university in Nigeria, to make sure a guy of your talent should go to university in the States, where you have the opportunity to play professional basketball.
Boy, did he take that one in, and Young,
So I told him I didn't have any contact in the States. Then he took me from there to the embassy, where he called several coaches. And one of the coaches is the guy Lewis for University of Houston. So he made all the contact arrangement for me.
This trend would continue, with giant young Africans being spotted in their hometown before making the move to America. Manute Bol, born and raised in Sudan, only took up basketball once he deemed himself too tall to play his first love, soccer. Due to the fact there was no way of measuring himself in his local village, Bol only discovered he was 7'7" tall when he reached the age of 19. Despite being a latecomer to the game of basketball, his enormous size caught the attention of a US coach hosting a clinic in Sudan, and thus persuaded Bol to move to America and play college basketball.
From the Sudan, there is Manute Bol, and at 7'6", minute he is not.
He is the classic project.
Yep, I read about it. He's an awesome, towering individual.
He may be 7'6", but he's only 190 pounds. He just finished his freshman year at the University of Bridgeport, Connecticut. After averaging 22 points, 13 rebounds, and 7 block shots a game, he's looking to turn pro with mixed reviews.
When there is someone that big out there, you look at him and look at the potential down the road, Can he gain weight? Can he become a more knowledgeable player about the game? And if so, he's a chance player.
He certainly won't play in the NBA. I think possibly he might play in one of the 2 minor leagues in the United States, or certainly he'll play overseas in some other particular venue.
As for Ball, he is determined to make it to the NBA despite the critics.
I say that I can play for them, but they don't think I can play, you know. So if I don't play here, I'll make it somewhere. There's a lot of ways you can make it, and maybe later on I can make it in the NBA.
Joining Olajuwon and Bol was 7'2" center Dikembe Mutombo. Born and raised in Zaire, Congo, Mutombo was studying to be a doctor when he picked up his first basketball at the age of 16. 5 years later, he would move to the US to play college basketball on a scholarship, despite not speaking a word of English. Despite the relative inexperience of all three, they would all dominate on the college scene before making their transition to the NBA in just as dominating fashion.
7-2 from Georgetown, number 55, Dikembe Mutombo.
Mutombo backs slowly, methodically, turns with a sweeping hook.
Rejected by Mutombo. Another block from Mutombo. Mutombo, the mountain.
He doesn't swat them out of bounds like so many shot blockers do. Keeps the ball in play.
What a play by Manute Bol!
Contact with good inside position, and Manute blocks it anyway. It gets it again! Rebound battle. Manute blocks another one. His 11th block shot of the game. Battle challenging Manute, who knocks it out of bounds. The 15 block shots by Manute Bol tonight are the second highest total in NBA history.
7 feet from Houston, number 34, Hakeem Olajuwon.
7-4 lead here.
Opening up to Clerk. Turns inside.
The green shot!
Olajuwon spinning one way, back the follow away.
The dream! Put a little green shot!
Work on Bryant, turns to the right side. This time, trying to turn baseline.
The success of all three players was highlighted by Olajuwon, an MVP caliber player in his prime, year in and year out. Olajuwon went on to win 2 NBA championships, 2 Finals MVPs, 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards, an MVP award, and was an All-Star 12 times. Hakeem's dominance, along with Bol and Dikembe Mutombo, not only shone a light on the potential of the African continent, but it lit a fire in the growth of basketball in Africa. After the success of Hakeem, Bol and Mutombo, along with other international players in the 90s, the NBA placed emphasis on growing the game around the world. One of the first measures was setting up the Basketball Without Borders camp, which introduced and taught kids around the world the game of basketball. Held annually in several cities around the world, Africa hosted its first camp in Johannesburg, 2003.
Welcome to Africa. Great to be home. My brother, Dikembe Mutombo, Polono Jean-Jacques Dikembe Mutombo, brought myself, Alonzo, over here to the motherland.
Thank you, guys.
You know, I'm proud of them. I'm proud of them just for taking my call, taking my invitation to come here in Africa for the second time. It's been almost 18 years since the last time we came to the continent.
Oh yeah, to the motherland, that land. Welcome home, bro. We had some great memories here. South Africa has definitely grown since the last time we were here back in '94. A lot of new construction, and the camp itself has grown a great deal.
Shoulder square, nice. Peel back hard. Very nice. Good finish, good finish.
Same thing, 1-2, 1-2, pass. Myself and the rest of the guys who are here, we're here to promote the game. And basketball has definitely grown, not only here in Africa, but also worldwide.
Post up, fake, then go. All right?
This is truly a global event. We're bringing global expertise from the NBA standpoint, and these people, these young men are going to go back to their countries having improved on the court and at the same time having learned a lot.
Nice, easy, nice. Like an Iceman, tell them.
Amazing experiences I've ever had in my life, representing global brand in the NBA and to be ambassadors for the NBA and sharing the game of basketball with young individuals.
A lot of talent's been discovered today.
Yeah, very much so. A lot of talent.
Much better than when I saw old young Dikembe Mutombo.
No, I think I saw the next Dikembe. Did you see the next number 55?
The success of international players also led to a stronger focus on finding talent playing overseas. During the 2000s, several international players such as Yao Ming, Pau Gasol, and Andrew Bogut were drafted into the NBA straight out of their home countries. The attention on overseas talent meant that Africans living outside of Africa and the US were given the spotlight and an avenue into the league. Born and raised in Congo, Serge Ibaka, like many Congolese people, migrated with his family to France. It was here Ibaka made a name for himself and picked up his first basketball, and was soon on his way to playing professionally in Spain at the young age of 18. A blend of youth and untapped potential caught the eye of several NBA scouts, and the Oklahoma City Thunder, who drafted him, bought out his contract in Spain, allowing him to enter the NBA. The heightened attention on international talent meant more attention on players from Africa. Despite the increase in participation of the sport, the lack of resources, coaching, and opportunities meant the next generation of African players were making a transition into the US at much younger ages. Such like Luke Mbah-a-Moute. Mbah-a-Moute excelled at basketball. Picking up the game at the age of 12, he moved to Florida to play high school basketball, just 3 years later at the age of 15. After 4 years in high school, Mbah-a-Moute joined UCLA, one of the biggest college teams in basketball.
I grew up in Yaoundé, which is the capital, kind of, small city still developing. I'm going to school, just like any other kids in the city, having fun, it's a great place. I have a lot of good memories there. As a matter of fact, my dad didn't really want to let me come to the United States because he didn't believe I was gonna go to school. He thought it was just something basketball. It took some convincing to get him to understand that no, I'll go to school as well, and that if I didn't do well in school, then I couldn't play basketball. When I first came here, I just know how to say hi, how are you, and good night. Pretty much that was about it. When I went to college, UCLA, we had some really good teams, and our team was really excited. We had really good guys, and we played hard. And my last game at UCLA, that was the only game my parents got to see me play. That was the first time my parents saw me play basketball. Crazy, huh? They didn't really understand it, and it really, really didn't hit them until they came here to the game. That's when they saw the dome where we played in, and they saw how many people went to the Final Four, and they saw how washed it was in the US. They're very, very proud of me. It went from my dad not coming to my games when I was younger or whatever, to now my dad changed his TV provider so he can get the games, and he would be texting me after games and stuff. He's the #1 NBA fan now. He watches all the games.
At the end of the decade, 23 different African-born players had played in the NBA since Olajuwon. The likes of Ibaka, Deng, and Mbah-a-Moute were playing pivotal roles on exciting teams and proving the potential of Africa. Despite the success of players in the NBA, the transition from Africa to the US comes with its own difficulties. One of the difficulties young kids face is the transferring of academic credentials from Africa into the US. Senegalese-born Gorgui Deng, who moved to the US to play high school basketball, was deemed ineligible when attempting to begin his college career at the University of Louisville. The NCAA deemed that Dieng's academic transcripts from Senegal did not meet the requirements needed to enter college. Essentially, the difference in credit hours between a Senegalese and an American high school led to assumptions that Dieng had actually graduated from high school whilst in Senegal. If true, this would have meant Dieng was restarting high school in America rather than transferring from Senegal. After being made ineligible to play for the team, the university aggressively appealed the decision, and after numerous back and forths, the decision was reversed and Dieng was deemed eligible into the university before making his way into the NBA. This isn't just an isolated incident. Several other hopeful African college players have had similar experiences, such as fellow Senegalese-born Taco Fall and Malian-born Cheikh Diallo. Both players were deemed ineligible to play college basketball due to issues with their credentials when transferring to American high schools. Fortunately for them, they were able to prove their eligibility, thus allowing them a college career and a chance at the NBA. Whilst all three players were eventually made eligible after appeals, not every player is as lucky, and many have had to deal with years of not playing and sometimes even permanent bans. Repeated issues with African players and eligibility has led to claims of NCAA's African bias from players to coaches to attorneys and sporting outlets. And whilst the opportunity to play college basketball is an exciting prospect for many young African basketballers, the dream can sadly be taken away from no fault of their own. The difficulties many face when making the transition into the US has led to many established veterans easing those difficulties and mentoring the younger generation during their transition. One such example is Cameroonian Joe Embiid. A former Basketball Without Borders attendee, Embiid was mentored by fellow Cameroonian Luc Mbah-a-Moute.
My assistant coach told me about Joe. He was like, "Oh, you remember the kid, Embiid, the Colonel Embiid?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, he's playing basketball now, and he can be really good." And I was like, "Okay, good. You're gonna bring him to the camp."
And they came in 2011 when Luc Mbah-a-Moute came back and they had a camp, and I went there and I got selected, and they gave me a chance to come to the state.
Embiid, under Mbah-a-Moute's guidance, attended his former high school, Montverde Academy. Soon after, Embiid's ability and confidence continued to grow, and soon enough, after a stellar college career, he was the #1 pick in the 2014 NBA draft. Through the 2010s, Africa's place in the league was well and truly established. Whether they were African-born or of African descent, the likes of Embiid, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Pascal Siakam are some of the biggest stars in the league.
Embiid, he's on this round! No doubt about that.
Middleton, Giannis trailing the lob. Oh! Giannis Antetokounmpo. 2 seconds to the rim with the left hand at the buzzer. Spicy P comes through. Here's Kyle curling, finds a bucket. Surge soaring through and hammers it home.
Put a dime on him right. Hey! Look at Kemba. Got to the rim, just couldn't convert.
Look at Big Buck! Are you kidding? 2 hands over the back.
Yep, fell asleep. Blocked up top, Diallo. How about the job he did up top?
Miles has it knocked away. Beasley
Rejected by Gorgie Jang.
That was G-9 right there. Bayless dumps it to Gorgie Jang, and 1 for G.
Perhaps the big success during this period occurred off the court. Born in England to Nigerian parents, Masai Ujiri spent several years playing in Europe before going to the US to begin his post-playing career. After spending several years in the early 2000s as an international coach for the Denver Nuggets and Orlando Magic, Ujiri then made a step up towards assistant manager for the Toronto Raptors. Just 2 years later in 2010, Ujiri's big break occurred when he was rehired by the Denver Nuggets, but this time as the general manager and vice president of basketball relations. With this hiring, Ujiri became the first African-born general manager in all of American sports. 3 years later, he won the NBA's Executive of the Year award, becoming the first non-American to do so. That same year, Ujiri's stock continued to rise, and is again rehired by the Toronto Raptors to serve as their manager and vice president on a 5-year, $50 million deal. The crowning moment of Ujiri's tenure with the Raptors was the formation of a team that won their first NBA championship. Despite all these successes, Masai's mission extends past the court, his ultimate aim being to bring growth in the game of basketball in Africa.
What is it like for me to be the first African GM, president, executive in all of American sports? It absolutely means zero. I hate hearing it and I hate talking about it, but this is what I'll tell you about it. The longer I do it, the more embarrassing it is for me, because when is the next person coming along? Who have I helped? How many African kids, how many African youth have I helped to be in a position like this one day? That's what you put on your shoulder, like being from the continent of Africa right there. That's the weight that I put.
To do this, Ujiri set up his own basketball camp in Africa named the Giants of Africa.
Giants of Africa, I don't even know how to describe it, because we started as a basketball camp, but for me, any way that I can be an advocate to encourage youth through sports, to build opportunity. You know, how do you teach these kids basic life skills, you know, like in a basketball camp? That's where they're more attentive. How do you teach them to be on time? How do you teach them to be honest, to respect women? How do you teach a kid to stand up and say his name and where he's from? My name is Masai Ujiri and I'm from Nigeria and I'm proud of it. How many kids can stand up and say that?
The growing presence of Africans in the league, along with the NBA's goal of expanding the game in Africa, led to the creation of the first NBA Africa game in 2015.
For the first time in NBA history, the league staging a game in Africa, South Africa, in its largest city, Johannesburg, the site of today's exhibition, matching a team of NBA players from Africa versus a squad of NBA players from the rest of the world at Ellis Park Arena.
I'm glad they did it. It's, everyone could know where I'm from. That's the South Sudan flag, in case you didn't know.
I remember when I was growing up here, man, the closest we got to the NBA was watching the games at night. And to have all those great players here playing in front of you is like a dream come true, man. This is a historical moment, hopefully one of many, and it should be fun.
Team Africa in white as ball moves in.
Well, we got a little surprise coming up here. The two best shot blockers in the history of the NBA on the floor with big smiles right now.
You wonder, are they intimidated at all? Give us the dream shake.
No, don't let it go. Don't let it go for the key. Yeah, baby. Yes. Yes.
The NBA considers itself a global organization, and rightly so. And you think about how much international stars have grown and become a part of this league. It's truly amazing.
Beal hits again, and for the first time, the world has the lead.
These fans treated to a spectacular exhibition, but the most important work done in the 3.5 days prior to today.
Good job. Good job. Great work. Good job.
The first NBA Africa game goes to Team World, 101-97, the final over Team Africa.
Now at center court, Amadou Galloufal, Vice President and Managing Director of NBA Africa, will present the Manute Bol Most Valuable Player Award to Chris Paul and Luol Deng. Congratulations.
First game here, but it won't be the last.
Yeah, I'll check that out. Thank you.
One of the biggest disadvantages of basketball in Africa was the lack of any major league in the continent. To rectify this, the Basketball Africa League was established in 2019. A joint effort between the NBA and FIBA Basketball, the league will feature 12 teams from 12 different nations such as Nigeria, Mozambique, Rwanda, Egypt, Cameroon and others.
For so long, we knew that the continent of Africa was a continent full of treasure. It was a question of time for those who want to go find it.
The BAL is the next step to complement the work we've done since we opened NBA Africa.
It is our responsibility to bring Basketball Africa to a different level.
We have the talent, we have the ability, we have the capability.
Basketball got a push to become a part of culture. We're building something, so as an African, you feel proud of contributing to the growth of the continent.
Africa's time is now.
Through the efforts of players, both current and retired, and leading figures off the court, such as Masai Ujiri, the growth of basketball in Africa and in the NBA is certainly on the rise. And as Masai Ujiri said, Africa must win.
We need visionaries, you know, like we need the people of tomorrow. We need the youth of tomorrow. You know, like we need that on that continent, you know. And Africa must win. It must. There's no any other option. It must win.